Hi, I'm Larissa Ramirez. We're all tired of endless political ads, but there's one more that I want you to watch, and it's this one. Because I'm running for League City Council in a runoff December 6th. I'm a mother of two, a construction manager, and disaster relief expert. I believe in lower taxes, smart development, and more police on our streets and in our neighborhoods. I'm Larissa Ramirez, and I'm asking for your vote one more time this December 6th.
And there you have it, our candidate who is in a runoff for the League City Council position number 7. Early voting is underway and election day is next Tuesday. Larissa would be the first female on the League City Council, would bring a voice of experience to the City Council. She's been endorsed by the sitting mayor, the former mayor of Galveston, Bo Quiroga. She's been endorsed by former U.S. Congresswoman Shelley Sakula Gibbs, who is also a practicing physician in the Clear Lake area. She's been endorsed by former state senator Jerry Patterson and former Texas land commissioner, who, as you know, authored the concealed carry legislation. She's been endorsed by Mayra Flores, Michelle Gamboa, TLC, HRT, Harris County GOP PAC, Texas GOP PAC. She's got a long list of endorsements. If you live in League City, go to larissaramirez.com, check out her webpage and her endorsements, her issues. She's a very capable candidate, so we're really happy to be supporting her, and we think that she's going to be victorious next week. We look forward to celebrating with her, and I am not in studio, as you can tell, but in studio we have two fabulous gentlemen that are filling in for Andrea and I, and that's the chairman of the Republican Party of Fort Bend County, Bobby Eberle, and from South Texas, down in the Harlingen area, Luis Cabrera, Pastor Luis Cabrera, who incidentally is heading up Texas Latino conservative pastors. Luis is putting together an effort across the state of Texas to encourage congregations, Christian congregations around the state, to get involved in civics. That means registering, voting, getting out, and electing the candidates that reflect the values of our Latino community. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for filling in. And Bobby, I want to toss it over to you.
Well, Orlando, it's great to see you again, man. I mean, we talked. Orlando and I had a great conversation the other day. He's helping me out with cowboy boots because I was thrown into a situation, and he says, "Bobby, just relax. You can take a deep breath, and we got this. I'll help you out." But folks, welcome to TLC Live. I'm co-hosting today, Bobby Eberle, media and communications advisor for Texas Latino Conservatives. Again, with a co-host, Pastor Luis Cabrera. Just wanted to wrap up these elections. We saw the Larissa Ramirez. She's still running. She's still out there running. But we have a lot of interesting results from this last election cycle. Luis, what are some of your thoughts? I mean, you're down there in the valley. I mean, it was going strong. We've made some strong gains. How would you assess how things went?
I mean, we did a lot of damage down there in South Texas. Believe it or not, we gained a lot of points. The momentum is growing. I mean, Myra did fantastic. I know there's still a lot of work to be done, but you know what? We have our hopes high because we understand that a lot of people, especially the Latinos, are finally voting,
right?
In their conservative ways and values, and I think that's huge. And so we're seeing more of that. And then what I'm doing now is with the pastors is getting them now involved politically speaking, civically speaking, and finding engaging in their civic duties. You would think that that would come natural, right?
Right.
It doesn't.
No. People, right? They need to get pushed out there, and Orlando and I've been talking about it a long time. With the dam is finally broken.
Yeah.
With for so long. I mean, decades. You talk to I'm half Hispanic. Grew up my family in the Valley, Falfurrias area.
Yeah.
And it's been for decades where they'd say, well, yeah, we're conservative. We have conservative values, but still vote Democrat.
Yes.
Something has changed now. And Orlando, what do you think about this last election cycle? I mean, Harris County, I can get into Fort Bend a little bit, but what's your 30,000-foot view?
Well, I think that, let me take you guys back, Bobby. That we conducted a poll based on some research that we had done earlier in the year. We wanted to know what were the issues that were moving Hispanics? What's causing what we call this great political realignment among Latinos in Texas, which is soon to be the largest ethnic group in Texas? And, as conservatives, as Republicans, we hate to talk about ethnicity and gender and sexual orientation and whether you're a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim or, non-believer. We don't divide people. But the fact of the matter is that we have to address the fact that Hispanics, number one, don't really participate at the level they should in elections. And number two, we don't have a lot of Latino candidates running, but we wanted to find out what's causing this realignment. So we did a survey of 1,200 registered Hispanic voters in Texas. And, the elections played out just as we had predicted. We thought that Hispanics were moving towards the Republican Party along the border for obvious reasons. The taxpayers down there are tired of footing the bill for the lack of responsibility by the federal government enforcing border laws. Number two, we realized that upwardly Hispanic people in Texas, when they leave the urban area and go to the suburbs and the exurbs, they vote conservative, just like their neighbors. So we wanted to expend our limited resources, not in urban areas like, Travis County, Bexar County, Harris County, and Dallas County. We did, and I'll get back to that in just a minute, but we really wanted to focus where we were going to make an impact. And we did, as Luis said, and you could talk about Fort Bend County, but we saw some tremendous gains among Latinos outside of the urban areas. If you look at Valverde County, Uvalde County, Kinney County, Starr County, Maverick County, all along the border, you saw again that Hispanics are shifting towards the Republicans. And everybody says, well, you had 3 candidates running for U.S. Congress. Mayra Flores lost. Mayra was in a very tough district in that federal. I mean, it was a plus 14 Democrat
Actually,
district.
16.
We knew going in she was going to have a tough time, but she outperformed that district. She did 7 points better than was. So what that's telling me is that a lot of those old traditional Democrats in Midas 34th congressional district are voting Republican, and Luis can talk about this. But we had tremendous gains. Our friend Robert Garza, who was the former mayor of Del Rio, ran for the Texas Senate out in far west Texas, which includes Del Rio and Sanderson and the Big Bend area. And he gained 7,900 votes out there in that senatorial district. Those are huge gains for us. And we won 2 congressional seats. We have Monica de la Cruz, and we kept Tony Gonzalez. This has never happened in Texas. So, while a lot of people want to poo-poo the results, I thought that the results were fabulous. It continues the trend that we're seeing, that Hispanics are voting their values, are getting more involved. And, unfortunately, we didn't win Harris County. But look at the difference, Bobby. In 2018, we lost Harris County by more than all the Republicans lost Harris County by more than 120,000 votes.
Right.
All of our candidates came within 1 or 2 percentage points in Harris County. So it tells me while we didn't expend a lot of money in Harris County, we moved the needle. Dallas County, we can move the needle. But I'm going to tell you, as you all know, because you know him very well, John Lujan in District 113 down in Bexar County kept his state House district, which is a Democrat district in southern Bexar County in San Antonio. So again, we made tremendous gains. So tell us about what happened in Fort Bend.
Well, yeah, Orlando, we really did move the needle. And for Fort Bend, folks that follow Fort Bend, I'm the county chairman there in Fort Bend County. In 2018, we had 0 Republican wins. In 2020, we had 0 Republican wins. This time, countywide elections, we had 6 Republicans winning to 7 Democrats winning. And we were within 300 votes of that being an 8-5 or 9-4 switch with us that close. And it goes to what you were saying on some of these races were that close. We were able to be victorious in a number of those. And again, I mean, just razor thin from a big, big victory. But then what I've told people also is we need to remember the importance of the courts. And in our area, the 1st and the 14th Court of Appeals, absolutely decimated in the 2018 and 2020 elections to the tune of some 12 losses to only 2 Republican victories. And the 1st and the 14th Court of Appeals encompass all of Harris County, all of Fort Bend County, and rural counties as well. Because of that comeback, because of that strength, we went 4-0 in those races that include, again, all of Fort Bend County. So you add those, we were 10 Republican victories to 7 Democrat victories. And that is a big turnaround from 0 again in 2018, 0 in 2020. In Fort Bend, the way we were able to do that is the average Republican gained about over 4,000 votes, while the average Democrat lost close to 12,000.
Yep.
And we were out there going to swing voters, going to every community, reaching out to Hispanics, and giving them that conservative message. And do we have the red wave? No, but I mean, 6 victories, 10 victories compared to zeros and zeros is a great step forward, and there's a lot to build on going forward.
I agree with
Orlando,
you.
don't forget
I
about
just mentioned that John Lujan won, and I said House District 113. It's actually House District 118. But also we had another victory. You mentioned the Court of Appeals, which are very important for us. Aaron Pena won his seat down in South Texas. So I'll let Luis talk about that.
Yeah, and also Janie Lopez, she won too.
Correct.
So I mean, we are seeing some strides down there, and so yes, the Latinos are starting to shift.
They really
towards
are.
the Republican side, because now they're finally voting on their values and morals, and so. But it's it's good to see. I know people are kind of bummed out because the results didn't go in our favor in some races, but like Orlando said, I mean there were some. I mean the needle was moved,
Right.
and moved by a lot. Plus 7 points in some areas. Monica, I mean, when she won her race, it was fabulous, So that's the first time ever in Hidalgo County that she's able to flip Hidalgo red. So I know that she's excited, and I know there's more work to be done. And talking about Myra, Myra Flores is, she's a household name now. So she knows that, that she gained a lot of points, a lot of popularity. And now, now there's more work to be done. And so, but we're not going to quit. I know she's a fighter. She's a Latina. I know the Latinas, Bobby, they're fighters. Trust me, they are fighters. And I can attest to that. But you know what? But we're encouraged at what we're seeing down here in South Texas. And we know that, eventually people are starting to come out, especially Christians, the evangelicals, Catholics are now voting, little by little, coming out of their 4 walls and voting the right way, biblically speaking. And so I'm encouraged. Like I said, we didn't have this massive red wave, but we had a wave, though.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we're seeing that, Bobby.
Right. And there's ways we can analyze that, and maybe we can go into that some other time. But one of the things that I think was important, too, is in Fort Bend, we saw the importance of reaching these constituencies, going into the Hispanic community and talking about local issues. One of the things that was so important is when you compare to the last midterm, 2018, Governor Abbott won Fort Bend County by 0.2%, 493 votes. He won the county in 2018. Republicans below lost every single position. This time around, Governor Abbott lost Fort Bend by close to 5 points, almost 12,000 votes.
Wow.
And we won down ballot. We won county races for the first time since 2016, which means people are concerned about those local issues, regardless of what they may think about the top of the ticket. And we were able to address those concerns at the county level and reach Hispanic community and show them what county government can deliver. And we saw the results.
That's awesome.
Well, and don't forget that the new county chairman in Fort Bend County deserves a lot of credit because, Bobby this is his first term as chairman of the Fort Bend County Republican Party, and he's done tremendous work down there trying to bring everybody together, make it more inclusive. Fort Bend is a very diverse community, a lot of Asians, a lot of Indians, a lot of Muslims, a lot of African Americans down there, and it's a very diverse community. And Bobby, I tip my hat to you. You've done a great job. But Luis said, "Well, we didn't get that red wave," and everybody's talking about the red wave. Yes, while that didn't happen nationally, I can tell you in Texas we did extremely well. And I will quote our pollster, our head of research for Texas Latino Conservatives, who's V. Lance Torrance. I call him the grandfather of polling in American politics. He said Rome wasn't built in a day,
That's
and
right.
so we don't want to sweep the entire. I mean, we'd love to, but it's not going
Yeah,
to happen. Political
not
shifts don't
overnight.
occur like that. We're just building, one brick at a time, and we're making tremendous gains. So we're excited, we're pleased, and I think we just continue to move forward.
Yeah, well, thanks. And Orlando, I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments because it kind of got thrown into this during the summer is when I took over. But to your point, Fort Bend is rated the most diverse county in the entire state of Texas, top 3 in the nation.
Oh, wow.
And so there's been, the question that the Democrats would always push, and this goes to our outreach and our bringing in more Hispanics, is the Democrats' plan was that, any person of color, if they see someone, they just assume they're going to be Democrat. They
Yeah.
assume that. So if you see, Hindus, Muslims, Hispanics, their plan is that they'll never vote Republican. So how do you get people to vote Republican in the most diverse county in the entire state? You go talk about those values. As you were saying, Pastor, you go out there and you say, here's what the Democrats believe. Here's what we believe on the host of issues. And it resonates. It just takes time. And we're making it.
Does. I mean, it's black and white. I mean, our values, we're for traditional marriage, we're for, of course, God, and we're for this country. And we just share that message. Like when I go speak to pastors, I just share that message, biblically speaking. And so, I mean, they can relate with that. Say, yeah, you're absolutely correct. So, it's trying to now help them engage now and their civic duties, because as we see, a lot of Christians in 2020, if I remember, 23 million Christians, Bobby, and Orlando did not vote. 23 million Christians.
Wow.
That's a lot that
Right.
stayed home.
Right.
And so now we're trying to kind of reverse that and say, okay, pastors, you know what? We let the ball down. Like we dropped our guard, and now it's time to get engaged, civically speaking. And so little by little, they're starting to come out of the 4 walls, but it's true. I mean, like Orlando says, we did make some strides, and we're excited for this. And yes, I know we have more work to be done, but still, at least now we have some foundation.
Absolutely. Right. And what you're doing is so important, because I've been to event after event after event where it just seems like if it's not overt Democrat booth, it's
Yes.
some kind of organization affiliated with Democrats registering voters, performing that outreach. And we've always been lacking in that area. And here you guys go, you're kind of picking up the mantle
Yes.
and running with it. So, I mean, that's amazing. So Texas Latino Conservatives pastors.
Yes.
How did that all come together?
Well, Orlando, you know him. He's a brains behind all of this, and
Oh yeah, he's always thinking of some
he's
kind of
always
idea,
thinking.
something,
And so,
something
we,
new.
we
right?
had a meeting and we discussed it, and we discussed this project, and we understand that this is all hands on deck now. We got to get everybody mobilized, and especially pastors, because pastors, they're community leaders in their areas, in their cities, in their communities, and so we understand if we engage in that area, that we can talk to a bunch of people, a bunch of community. And so I was already doing this before Orlando reached out to me with
Right.
the Congresswoman Myra Flores, and her victory back in June was historic.
Right. That was
Historic
big.
on so many levels. Like we were able to flip her seat for the first time in 150 years,
Right.
since Abraham Lincoln was president. So if you just think about that, I mean, we did history. So, and why? Because we got the church activated. And so, even though, yes, there's more work to be done, but still, at least, we gained that momentum.
Right.
And now, so when she won that special election, they gave her a brand new district. They redistricted her district. So now it's more traditional, more blue. So now we understand, okay, there's a lot of work to be done. But even that, she gained, like I said, 7 points. I mean, she gained a lot of momentum. And we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop. I'm still, I still love her dearly. I still talk to her. But you know what? We understand that this is a long-term thing,
Right.
not a short-term thing.
Right.
So, because we understand little by little that, okay, if we, do these small steps, that, we will build Rome eventually.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
give us these
exactly.
bricks little by little. So
Right.
I'm excited, but you know what?
Well, what do you
just
think
seeing the
about getting
momentum.
when you're out there though? I mean, you obviously you're strong in your convictions,
Yes,
and you see,
very.
and you're bringing these pastors together. But then on the flip side, you see more and more congregations going to the left.
Yes.
Being influenced, being infiltrated, and putting out policies that clearly do not follow
Yes.
Christ, clearly do not follow the Bible. So how do you address that?
You know what it's come down to, Bobby? It's come down to ignorance. That's the bottom line truth. Down there in South Texas, a lot of people have been voting Democrat. Because why? Because my father was Democrat. My grandfather was Democrat. My great grandmother was Democrat. So that's all they know.
Right.
But when you sit down with them and you educate them, okay, this platform stands for this. What do you stand for?
Right.
Are you a Christian? Do you believe in God? Yes, I love God. Do you go to church? Yes, I go to this. I go to First Baptist. I go to this Catholic church. Okay. Well, then, as a Christian, as a believer in God, we have these values and morals. Now, this party does not align with these morals. So when you when you talk to him at that angle, then I kind of feel like the veil's kind of removing now. They're, you know what? Well, why am I Democrat? Yes. Why are you a Democrat?
Right, right.
And so they're like, I shouldn't be. No. There's only one party right now, Bobby, that aligns with our values and morals. I mean, it's plain and simple.
Right.
And so we just gotta, but again, it's a lot of education, a lot of training, a lot of sitting down with them, having coffee with them, breakfast with them, lunch with them, and talking with these leaders and these community people to understand that now, as Latinos, I mean, we are conservative.
Right.
I mean, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that you grew up in a conservative home. So, I mean, so did I. So why are we voting
Right. Yeah.
against our values?
Yeah. It doesn't make any.
It didn't make so. I'm kind of just telling them, okay, guys, it's time to vote.
Right.
What we've been taught all our lives.
Right.
And so, but yeah, like it's a lot of work, but at the same time, a lot of people, Bobby, they're waking up.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah,
saying,
that's
no,
great.
why am I a Democrat? I shouldn't be no more.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I'm seeing it firsthand, especially with a lot of pastors. There's a lot of liberal pastors still. Trust me, I know. And matter of fact, in Georgia, somebody texted me, a pastor in Georgia, tell me that there's over 200 pastors that are voting for Warnock. I'm like, 200 pastors?
Yeah. Right. It makes no
I'm
sense.
like, Lord, forgive us.
Right. Right.
I mean, what Bible are they reading from? So again, I know we are in for a fight, but you know what? But we're building these bricks.
Orlando alluded to it when they did the TLC survey, the poll, the when we first sat down in Orlando, remember, and we're going through that information, it was just stunning. We always, assumed, hoped, prayed that we were making progress
Yes.
in the Hispanic community. We saw results, like with Maya Flores and John Lewin, but to see it there in black and white, I mean, what stood out to you there? I mean, it really shows that we do have that foundation down to go farther.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby, I've always said part of our mission is, of course, to motivate, engage, educate the Latino community about the differences in the parties, the values, public policy issues, monetary, fiscal policy, how that affects your job, your family's future. We're seeing that right now. I mean, we saw when this administration came in, Joe Biden decided to tarnish and tar and feather the fossil fuel industry, killed jobs in Starr County and then all along the Permian Basin in Texas, where men and women were working oil rigs, driving trucks, hauling pipe, moving mud around for fracking. All those jobs came to a screeching halt. Thousands of Americans would have been employed in the Keystone Pipeline. That came to a screeching halt. And so this is what we tell Hispanics. There are consequences to voting for people that support the Green New Deal. I mean, everybody's for the environment. Nobody wants dirty water. Nobody wants to breathe, polluted air. No one wants the atmosphere to melt down so that we are all exposed to cancerous, sunbeams and whatnot. But we've got to do it in a way that doesn't disrupt the economy. And what the Democrats did when they came in is they completely disrupted the economy. Now we have shortages of diesel running about $5.45 a gallon here up in Montana, where I am. California is even more expensive. The cost of food, there's just, we got to just point out that the differences in public policy do have an impact. So we not only educate the Latino community, but part of our mission is also to educate the Republican Party about how to reach diverse communities. And
Yes.
I'm not talking about just Latinos. I'm trying to encourage our
Yes.
our
That's
Arab
huge.
friends, our Muslim friends, our Asian friends, our Hindu friends to get involved. Historically, I remember early on in the 1990s where, the Muslim community was very conservative, at least in
Hmm.
Harris County and the ones I knew. And we sort of lost that. And we had it in Fort Bend County. We had a lot of Asians that were voting conservative. We lost that. So part
Right.
of what we do is to educate the Republican Party on, it's okay to embrace. It's okay to have different ethnic groups and points of view in the Republican Party. Ronald Reagan made that comment, or that we're a big tent, and we are. And the bigger our tent, the better our leadership. One of the things I do want to say, Bobby, is. One of the comments I've been looking at lately, as you know, we go back to Larissa Ramirez. We endorsed her in her campaign early on.
Hmm.
And some of these so-called conservative Republicans are claiming that Texas Latino Conservatives is an open borders organization. Now, let me just say
Hmm.
right off the bat, we believe in strong border security.
Yes.
I've
Right.
never advocated. I don't think Luis has known me for several years. Bobby, you've
Yes.
known me for over 30 years. Have we ever advocated an open
No.
border policy?
No.
Right. Where is that coming from?
Well, and that's the thing. See,
Yeah.
there's a lot of establishment Republicans that are uncomfortable with sort of the new arrivals in the Republican Party, and then they go, "Well, these people are open borders." No, we're not open borders, but we recognize that both parties, Republicans and Democrats, from a public policy perspective with respect to immigration, have not gotten it right.
Yes.
And immigration continues to be a big factor in American elections in our everyday life in the United States, not only for our southern border communities, but for the people that have been here. And one of the positions I've taken, which is not too far, not too different from a congresswoman in Florida, which she introduced what's called the Dignity Act, is trying to bring some kind of stability to the immigrant families that are law abiding. Yes, they crossed the border, they came here illegally, but we have to address those issues. These are tax paying people that are among us. And
Yes.
our first statement has always been secure the border. There's no
Right.
question that we ought to have immigration laws and enforce those immigration laws, not what we have. But we're not an open borders organization as many claim.
Right, right. Yeah, that's just nonsense. And the thing is, we do need to do a better job of addressing the people that do come over here. And even on the legal side too, we've missed an opportunity because in talking with people in Fort Bend County, whether it's Hispanic or Muslim or people coming from India or Japan, China, one of the things they almost always have in common is that their first interaction with people once they become citizens and on the political side is the Democrats.
Yeah.
It's like the Democrats are ready and willing to welcome them. And it's only after they're here for a while that they realize, well, you know what? From India, I brought with me conservative values.
Yes.
From Mexico or Central America, I brought with me conservative values. And they have to then learn that, hey, it doesn't align with Democrats, it aligns with the Republicans, but the Democrats were out there and they were meeting and greeting them and welcoming them. And I think that we need to do a better job on that.
No, you're absolutely correct. And that's the thing. I think the Republican Party has got to, bridge that gap to our communities from all different backgrounds and cultures because, yes, they do. We can talk bad about the Democrat Party, but let me tell you something. They work hard for that vote.
That's right.
They do.
Right.
They're out
Absolutely.
there. They don't take holidays off.
Right.
During Thanksgiving, they're out there door knocking, phone banking. They're out there, hustling. And so, we can tear, a page off their book and say, okay, it's time for us to work now. And, mobilize all our troops and mobilize the conservative army. I
That's
guess.
right.
So come on, guys, we got to go out there and work for this because this is a war. It's a
Right.
culture war. It's a war for the, I tell pastors, this is the soul for this nation.
Yeah.
That we are fighting for.
Absolutely. Orlando, any other thoughts on elections or what we're seeing going forward?
Well, I like the comment Luis just made about how the Democrats never take a day off, but they have allies.
Yes.
We have to work harder. We
Yes.
don't have, we don't have the editorial boardrooms of major newspapers across the country. We don't have the digital platform CEOs like Zuckerberg and the rest of them supporting, us. In fact, we get banned from several social
Yep.
media platforms if we talk about conservative values or conservatism. We don't have the assignment editors at major networks like ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, Telemundo, Univision. None of those guys, ever give us a fair shot. And we don't have the infrastructure of the higher education system. These major universities and colleges that are now banning conservative young people
Yes.
from talking and expressing what conservatism is, or if you want to talk about traditional marriage, or if you want to talk about other values that conflict with the ivory tower leadership of major universities, we get banned. We don't have those allies. It's just us fighting, and so that's
Correct.
why it's important that one, we recognize that Democrats don't quit. They have a long view of politics, where
That's right.
Republicans have a shorter view. We want to win the next election. Democrats think 10 years down the line. So we
Yes.
have got to work hard. We've got to bring in everybody, and we have to have a big tent. We're not all going to agree, Bobby. You and I know this, but we're doing the work that needs to be done to grow the conservative movement, at least in Texas. And my observation is, and I predicted, that if we got Hispanics to vote conservative in Texas, that we would experience conservative leadership in the state of Texas now and into the foreseeable future. And we're seeing that. So I hope that we don't give up on that.
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah, and you you talk about the allies that the Democrats have. That's a big battle, and you see the meltdown that's occurring on the left just because Elon Musk wants to bring back this
Free
novel
speech.
concept to Twitter, free
God
speech.
forbid.
Pastor Cabrera, any closing thoughts?
No, I mean you're absolutely correct, Orlando. That I mean we got to, as a pastor, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I gotta go and reach out to these executives, these CEOs, these liberals, and kind of okay, it's time to go out there and minister to them and tell them. I mean, we need some either we convert them, for
Right.
Christ,
Right.
or we just gotta, we gotta pray for some conservatives that have, this mindset to build a platform for us, for our message and our values and our morals, because it's true, like we're up against media, mass media,
Right.
and they're shutting us down. They're trying to cut off our voices, and you know what? But again, if we just need to just build on this momentum, and hopefully, as we're building this momentum, we can get those allies that we need on our side. That have these platforms that they can, support this conservative move that we have in our values and morals. But no, I'm excited. I know we have a lot of work to be done, but like Orlando said, you know what? Rome is not built on one day.
That's right.
This is a long-term project, and I know eventually, once the Latinos finally come out of their homes and their churches and their four walls and start voting their values and morals and principles, man, we're going to see a big difference in national politics.
Yeah, we absolutely
Yeah.
are. Pastor Cabrera, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Orlando, thanks so much. He's the man, folks, behind TLC, Texas Latino Conservatives, and a great, great longtime friend. Friends, please visit the website. Thank you for tuning into TLC Live. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Check out TexasLatinoConservatives.com. And also, if you want to get involved in politics, either as a candidate or as a campaign worker, check out Leadership Latino. I'm a graduate. I teach media and communications during the seminar. The next Leadership Latino is already posted on the website. That'll be in January. TexasLatinoConservatives.com. Thanks for tuning into TLC Live. I'm Bobby Eberle.